Alien warriors froze in fear when they saw what Deathworlders consider ordinary. The reports from the outer colonies described humans as primitive, weak, and insignificant. That was why the Zorath Empire had sent their finest warriors to claim it. Commander Krath, a towering alien with 4 arms and blue-black scales, watched the landing from the bridge of the flagship Vorath. He had expected a barren, desolate world with scattered pockets of human resistance. Instead, he saw life everywhere, humans moving confidently across jagged cliffs, walking through rivers that hissed and steamed with acid, and climbing the roots of giant trees taller than their ships. "They are everywhere," whispered LT. Soren, his voice trembling slightly. "They are thriving." Krath's mandibles clicked in irritation. "Reports lied," he said. "This is impossible. We were told they are weak, fragile." The Zorath fleet descended in formation, their ships cutting across the turbulent atmosphere. Lightning danced in the dark clouds above, striking peaks and rivers with deadly precision. Yet the humans below did not flinch. Some were hunting enormous creatures with nothing more than sharpened sticks and simple slings. Others were climbing vertical walls of rock to collect strange plants, unprotected from the cold wind that shredded even the toughest Zorath armor. Krath could not believe his sensors. "They survive as if this is normal," he muttered. The first scouting team landed near the river Morkin, a stream of molten acid that boiled over sharp rocks. The humans waded through it as if it were a shallow creek, stepping from one jagged stone to another with ease. A small girl, barely 10 years old, carried a bundle of herbs on her back while balancing on a narrow rock in the middle of the acid. Her feet were bare. One of the Zorath warriors hissed, his 3 eyes wide. "Commander, should we intervene? That child, she will die." Krath shook his head. "Observe first. Do not act. Watch how they move. We may yet learn something useful." From the edge of the forest, a massive beast, a predator with 6 legs, black scales, and fangs long enough to pierce Zorath armor, stalked toward the humans. The aliens braced for carnage, but the humans did not scream or run. They scattered calmly, splitting into groups. Some lured the beast into traps made of sharpened stones and vines. Others climbed trees, positioning themselves like hunters on a battlefield. Within moments, the beast was trapped, pinned by human ingenuity rather than sheer strength. The Zorath scouts froze. None of their combat training had prepared them for this. Krath spoke slowly, his voice barely more than a hiss. They are not afraid." Soren nodded, his 3 eyes still locked on the scene. "They face death like it is ordinary." Krath clenched his fists. "Deathworlders," he muttered, recalling the term used by the Empire for humans who survived harsh planets. "They have earned their name." "We were foolish to think this would be easy." The aliens moved cautiously into the forests. The terrain was treacherous. Trees were taller than any building in the Empire, and their roots formed natural labyrinths. Acidic mists rose from the ground, turning the air heavy and corrosive. Predators prowled silently, eyes glowing in the dim light. The humans moved through it all with practiced grace. Krath's sensors detected another group of humans constructing a bridge across a lava stream. The bridge was simple, twisted vines, stone supports, but it held firm under the weight of dozens of humans crossing at once. One human leaped from the bridge, grabbed a vine, and swung over a river of molten rock with the ease of a trained acrobat. A human woman with scars across her face smiled as she landed on the other side. "This is not natural," one of the Zorath murmured. Krath shook his head. "It is natural, it is human." As they continued deeper into the forest, they encountered a hunting party. A group of humans had trapped a massive beast in a pit lined with spikes. The creature roared and thrashed, trying to escape, but the humans circled it, calm and unafraid. One stepped forward, a young man with thick muscles and steady hands, and delivered a precise blow with a long spear. The beast collapsed. Krath felt an unfamiliar sensation, a mixture of awe and fear. "They do not fear pain nor death," he whispered. Suddenly the air shimmered with movement. Another predator, larger and faster than the first, charged from the shadows. The humans split but did not panic. Using hand signals and subtle movements, they coordinated a trap. The predator fell into a concealed pit and was subdued within moments. Soren spoke, voice trembling. "Commander, they are teaching us what fear really is." Krath's mind raced. He had faced countless opponents across the galaxy, from deadly creatures on ice worlds to ruthless alien armies. But he had never seen a species that treated life-threatening situations as if they were ordinary tasks. Hours passed as the scouts observed more humans. Some were gathering food from the dangerous forests. Others were climbing jagged cliffs to collect rare minerals. Every action was calculated, precise, and unafraid of risk. A human boy darted across a collapsing rock bridge while carrying a heavy basket. His landing was perfect, as if he had done it 1,000 times before. Krath finally spoke, his voice heavy. They have survived where death rules. They have not only adapted, they have conquered the impossible, and they consider this ordinary. As night fell, the humans built small fires to cook their meals. Predators roamed the darkness, but the humans slept calmly, their fire casting shadows that danced among the trees. The Zorath warriors shivered, despite their armored shells. Their species feared the dark, the unknown, but humans seemed to welcome it. Krath ordered a retreat to a high vantage point. From there, the forest stretched endlessly, filled with life that was both beautiful and deadly. He could see humans climbing, hunting, and moving as if the dangers surrounding them were nothing. "Prepare the fleet for observation," Krath commanded. "We will report to the Empire, but I fear they will not believe us. The humans, they are unlike anything we have known." One of the younger Zorath asked, voice cautious, "Commander, what if they attack us?" Krath turned to him, eyes narrowing. "We are stronger, yes, but strength is not everything. They are clever, they are fearless, and they have survived what we would call death. If we underestimate them, we will be destroyed." The alien warriors spent the rest of the night observing from hidden perches. Humans moved under starlight, repairing shelters, tending fires, and even teaching younger humans to navigate the dangerous terrain. The more Krath watched, the more he realized the truth. Humans were not only capable of surviving extreme environments, they thrived in them. By dawn, the first Zorath reports were transmitted to the Empire. Words like fearless, resilient, and death-defying filled the data streams. The humans below, unaware of the observation, continued their daily lives, treating deadly rivers, massive predators, and jagged cliffs as ordinary. Krath leaned against a tree, his forearms crossed. "We have underestimated them," he said quietly. "Every calculation we made wrong, every plan we had useless. These humans, they are not weak, they are extraordinary. And they will make us question everything we thought we knew about life, survival, and fear." As the suns rose higher, casting golden light across the jagged peaks and steaming rivers, Krath knew one thing for certain. The Zorath Empire would not find conquest easy on Zyphera. The humans had survived in this hostile world for generations, and their ordinary was something no alien could endure without trembling. The first part of the campaign was over. The aliens had landed. The humans had survived. And the lessons for the Zorath had only just begun. The dawn on Zyphera was quiet, but the humans were already awake. Smoke from small cooking fires curled into the crisp morning air, blending with the mist from the rivers. Birds with metallic-colored feathers screeched in the trees, but the humans paid them no attention. To them, the sounds of the wild were part of life, ordinary and familiar. Far above, in the skies, alien ships hovered silently. The Zorath scouts had returned to the fleet with terrifying reports of human ability. Commander Krath studied the scans, each one showing humans performing impossible feats. Some leaped across boiling acid rivers, others were hunting predators larger than a Zorath warrior. Each report increased his unease. These humans were not weak, they were extraordinary. Krath sent a small force down for reconnaissance. 5 alien warriors, armed with energy rifles and protective shields, descended near a human village. Their plan was simple: capture one human and return for study. It seemed easy. Humans were few in number compared to the Zorath soldiers. The aliens landed in a clearing near the village. The trees were dense and vines hung like natural traps. The humans were scattered, some fishing by the river, others tending small gardens of strange, resilient plants. None seemed alarmed by the alien arrival. LT, Soren signaled the others. "Move carefully, observe, do not make contact unless necessary." The squad crept forward. A human child no older than 10 was running through the forest, carrying a bundle of berries. The child slipped on a wet root and tumbled headfirst down a slope. The aliens expected panic, screams, or injury. Instead, the child rolled, landed on their feet, and sprinted away as if nothing had happened. One of the aliens whispered, "They do not fear injury, not even children." Krath's voice crackled in their comms. "Do not underestimate them, observe everything." As the aliens advanced, they set their sights on a human hunter. The man was armed only with a wooden spear and a sling. He moved silently, tracking a massive four-legged predator with black scales and glowing red eyes. The aliens thought they had the element of surprise. They would swoop in and capture him, but the human was not unaware. He stopped mid-step, crouched low, and hurled a small stone at a hanging vine. The vine swung down, catching the predator by surprise. Using its weight, the human flipped onto the creature's back, holding on as it thrashed. Within moments, the predator was subdued, not killed, just pinned. The aliens froze. They had expected an easy target. Instead, they had witnessed a display of skill, instinct, and fearlessness that no Zorath training could match. LT, Soren's voice shook. "Commander, they are too precise, too quick. How can they do this?" Krath's mandibles clicked, a sound of both thought and disbelief. "This is human. They do not think in fear. They act in life, observe everything, learn if you can." The hunter finally looked up, noticing the aliens. He did not panic. Instead, he whistled, a short, sharp sound that echoed through the trees. Almost immediately, other humans emerged from hiding. Some had bows and arrows, others carried spears, but none charged recklessly. They moved with strategy, circling the aliens silently. The aliens felt a strange emotion creeping in, fear. Not of the humans themselves, yet, but of the humans' confidence and control over their dangerous world. One alien, Talrek, whispered, "Commander, they are surrounding us." Krath's gaze narrowed. "Yes, and yet they do not attack. They are testing us." The humans were indeed testing the aliens. They led the squad along winding paths through forests filled with carnivorous plants. Each step was a trap for the unwary. Sharp vines snapped from the ground, hissing with acidic sap. A misstep would have burned the aliens' armor and flesh. But the humans navigated each hazard effortlessly, jumping, swinging, and balancing as if it were a game. The alien squad tried to mimic their movements, but one by one they failed. Talrek was scorched by a vine, another slipped into a shallow pit of boiling mud. Each failure made the remaining aliens more cautious, more hesitant. Krath, watching from above in a scout ship, felt a rising panic. They are training the aliens. This is not combat, it is a lesson, and we are failing it. The humans finally stopped at a clearing. There they set up a simple trap, a pit covered with branches and leaves. The aliens, unsure of the terrain, fell into the trap one by one. A human teen jumped from a rock and landed lightly on the edge, surveying the trapped aliens calmly. "This is ordinary for them," Talrek said in disbelief. "Ordinary." The scout team struggled to escape. Their energy shields held for a moment, but the humans were clever, using ropes, vines, and gravity to disable their weapons. One human grabbed a fallen alien rifle and examined it with curiosity. He tossed it aside when it seemed useless, as if the weapon were a toy. Krath's voice cut through the comms, sharp and commanding. "Retreat! Do not engage! Observe and report!" The aliens scrambled, climbing out of the pit and retreating. Even then, the humans did not pursue aggressively. They allowed the aliens to leave, their calmness unsettling. They had proven a point without a single deadly blow. Once back at the fleet, the aliens reported what they had seen. LT, Soren's voice trembled with awe. "Commander, they are fearless. They use their environment as a weapon. They are ordinary in ways we cannot even imagine." "How do they survive here?" Krath leaned back, his four arms resting on the edge of the command console. "They survive because they are human. Fear does not control them. Danger is their teacher, not their master. Every skill we see, every move they make is the result of life itself. They are ordinary in ways that terrify us." Meanwhile, on the ground, humans returned to their daily tasks. Some hunted for food, others repaired shelters. A group of children practiced leaping across rocks in a stream, laughing when they missed. Adults observed, correcting their techniques but never scolding them. The deadly rivers, the hidden predators, the sharp cliffs, these were part of their world, and they treated it with the same care and confidence they gave to farming or cooking. Krath could not stop thinking about the child who had led the predator into a trap earlier. That child had risked life without hesitation, relying on skill, instinct, and courage. "We were fools," he muttered. "Every report we received was wrong, every expectation we had useless." The humans continued their work, unaware that they had shaken an entire alien fleet. Their ordinary lives were extraordinary to anyone who did not share their planet, their resilience, or their courage. Krath convened a council aboard the flagship. The senior officers argued. Some insisted that humans could be conquered with more force. Others, like Krath, argued caution. Force alone will not work, he said. We must understand them first. They are not only surviving, they are thriving, and they consider this ordinary. The council fell silent. No one had ever encountered a species so unafraid of death, so skilled at turning danger into opportunity. Even the most disciplined alien soldiers felt unease. Back on the surface, humans gathered near a large fire. They shared stories of hunting trips, of narrowly escaping predators, and of climbing cliffs no human in other galaxies would dare attempt. To them, it was adventure, excitement, and learning. To the Zorath, it was chaos, brilliance, and terror. Krath made a decision. We will continue to observe. No engagement until we know more. We cannot afford to underestimate humans. One wrong step and our fleet will pay the price. That night, as the twin moons rose, humans slept beneath the trees. Some kept watch, others rested deeply, and a few listened to the sounds of the wild, noting the shifts in wind, the distant growls, and the rustling of the forest. They were ready for anything, as they had always been. The Zorath fleet, hovering in orbit, watched silently. Alien soldiers whispered about human skill, human fearlessness, and human ingenuity. One by one, they realized the truth. These humans were not only capable of surviving extreme danger, they had mastered it. What humans called ordinary was beyond comprehension for the aliens. Krath knew the campaign had only begun. The humans had survived their first test, and the aliens had learned their first lesson: underestimate humans, and even the strongest army could be humbled. The dawn of the next day promised more challenges. Humans would continue their ordinary routines. Aliens would continue their careful observations. And somewhere, deep in the forest, a human hunter smiled, unaware of the awe and fear his species had inspired in a galaxy that had never seen such courage before. The humans woke to another morning on Zyphera, unbothered by the presence of alien eyes watching from above. Smoke rose from small fires where families cooked meals, the scent of roasted roots and herbs blending with the damp forest air. The twin suns slowly rose, warming the jagged cliffs and rivers below. Far above, the Zorath fleet moved cautiously. Commander Krath studied the scans of the previous day. The humans had survived the alien scout mission with ease, using only their environment, wits, and fearless courage. The realization sank deeper into Krath's mind. This planet was not merely inhabited, it was mastered. Prepare a second team, Krath ordered. We need to understand them fully. If we underestimate humans, it will be our doom. A squad of 6 elite warriors was sent down. Unlike the first mission, this one would probe the humans further. Krath expected to see their limits, if humans had any. The squad landed near a steep cliff, its surface jagged and slippery. Smoke from volcanic vents rose, mingling with the cold mist of the morning. The humans had chosen the terrain carefully, Krath noted. Every natural hazard was a test, yet humans moved through it as if it were a playground. The aliens spotted a small group of humans waiting near the cliff. A human woman, muscular and tall, smiled at the approaching aliens. She carried only a simple spear. Around her, other humans readied ropes, vines, and tools fashioned from the environment. One alien, Talrek, hissed nervously. "Commander, they are prepared, but it looks like play." Krath remained silent. "Observe, this is not play, this is training. And we are about to be the students." The humans signaled the aliens to follow a narrow path along the cliff's edge. The path was slick with rain and loose rocks. Below, lava flowed in a fiery river, hissing and spitting sparks. One misstep would be fatal. The aliens moved cautiously. Their heavy armor made balancing difficult. The humans, however, leaped from rock to rock, their feet finding grips where the aliens saw only empty space. A young human boy darted past the aliens, carrying a bundle of herbs. He tripped on a loose stone and fell, but instead of crashing into the lava below, he landed perfectly on a small ledge, rolling to absorb the impact. The aliens froze, watching in disbelief. "Fear does not exist for them," whispered one warrior. The humans had prepared the next challenge. A dense forest lay ahead, filled with carnivorous plants that snapped with acidic saliva. The path twisted and turned, hiding pits and obstacles. The humans moved calmly, carefully stepping over traps, swinging on vines, and testing branches for stability. The aliens followed slowly, nervously. One misstep and a sharp vine sprayed acid across his armor. He shrieked in pain as the corrosive liquid ate at the metal plating. Another warrior slipped into a pit lined with spikes. He struggled to climb out while humans watched silently from above. Krath's voice echoed in their comms. "Do not panic. Study them. Every move is calculated. Learn." The humans led the squad to a narrow canyon. The walls rose hundreds of meters above, jagged and uneven. Water from recent storms trickled down in sheets, making the rocks slippery. Humans began the climb without hesitation. Some used vines to swing across gaps. Others jumped from ledge to ledge, landing lightly on stone. One alien tried to follow, but his bulk and armor made him slow. He slipped, scraping against sharp rocks. The humans extended a vine as if offering help, but only after he struggled for a moment, letting him feel the consequences of his misstep. It was a lesson in adaptation, not mercy. Talrek gasped. "Commander, they test us like students." Krath's mandibles clicked. "They are teaching us survival through experience. Every obstacle, every danger, ordinary for them, extraordinary for us." As the squad struggled through the canyon, the humans set another test. A predator, massive and fast, prowled the canyon floor. Humans had corralled it using simple wooden spikes and natural barriers. The creature roared, snapping its jaws at the aliens below. The humans, however, moved with precision. They leaped from ledge to ledge, coordinating with hand signals. One human hurled a rock that struck the predator's head, stunning it briefly. Another swung down from a vine, planting a spike in the ground to guide the creature into a trap. Within moments, the predator was subdued. The aliens were shaken. Their weapons could not match human ingenuity. Their armor could not protect them from the dangers humans faced daily and conquered effortlessly. Krath's voice was calm but firm. "Notice how they do not panic. Every action has purpose. Every movement is calculated. They turn danger into advantage. That is their strength." The humans continued the trials. Next was a river of boiling water, its surface steaming and bubbling. Some humans built a simple raft using vines and logs. Others leaped across partially submerged rocks. One child ran along the edge, balancing carefully before sliding across a rope bridge like a practiced acrobat. The aliens hesitated, uncertain how to cross. A warrior tried the same approach as the humans, but the raft tipped, almost tossing him into the water. He barely grabbed the edge and struggled to climb back. Humans watched silently, their expressions neutral. For them, the task was routine. For the aliens, it was nearly impossible. The humans set the final test for the day. A steep cliff face with jagged rocks, extreme heat from nearby vents, and a roaring predator at the base. They motioned for the aliens to climb. Hesitant but unwilling to disobey Krath, the aliens started. One by one, they slipped, struggled, and fell short. Humans climbed with ease, passing ropes and guiding the aliens only enough to keep them from death, but never making it easy. The lesson was clear. Survival required skill, courage, and focus. Strength alone was useless. Krath watched in silence from above. He realized something fundamental. Humans were not just physically capable, they were mentally superior in handling danger. Fear did not cloud their judgment. Every challenge they faced sharpened their mind and body. The aliens finally regrouped at the top. Exhausted, shaken, and humiliated, they looked at the humans. The humans smiled, not triumphantly, but casually, as if what they had done was ordinary. They treated extreme danger as part of life, and it had been ordinary for them since birth. Talrek spoke softly. "Commander, we were trained to face danger, but this is beyond anything we learned." Krath's eyes narrowed. "This is ordinary for them. Their entire lives are a trial against the impossible, and they survive, they thrive. That is why they are feared, why they should never be underestimated." The humans descended from the cliffs and led the aliens back to their village. Along the way, they demonstrated more skills, building temporary shelters from natural materials, catching food from deadly rivers, and even navigating predators without harming them. Everything humans did was efficient, clever, and fearless. As night fell, the aliens watched humans light fires, cook meals, and repair shelters. Children played nearby, practicing climbing and hunting techniques. Adults shared stories of survival, teaching lessons through action rather than words. It was a society built on adaptation, courage, and skill, a society hardened by a hostile world. Krath called a council. The aliens were exhausted, frustrated, and awed. No one argued about using force anymore. It would be useless. The humans were not only physically strong, but mentally unbeatable in their own environment. "They teach through danger," Krath said. Every test, every challenge, every risk is part of their daily life. Fear does not guide them, skill does. Strength alone cannot match this. The council fell silent, realizing the truth. Humans were not ordinary. They were extraordinary, yet they acted as if it were nothing. Their survival, their confidence, their courage. It was instinct, culture, and training combined into one unstoppable force. Back in the village, humans gathered around the largest fire. They shared stories of hunts, of predators evaded, and of cliffs scaled. Every tale contained a lesson, every action a demonstration of skill. To them, it was ordinary. To the aliens, it was terrifying. Krath stared at the images transmitted from the scouts. We will need more than weapons to conquer this world. We need understanding, if that is even possible. The humans, unaware of the alien council above, continued their ordinary lives. They repaired shelters, tended fires, and taught children to navigate hazards. Lava rivers, jagged cliffs, predators, and poisonous plants, they treated all as part of life. For humans, danger was a teacher. For aliens, humans were living nightmares. By dawn, the second day of trials was complete. The aliens had survived but were changed. Every warrior had learned a humbling lesson. Humans were not only capable, they were masters of survival, fearless where others would panic. Krath looked down at the forest. We have underestimated them, and we will pay for it if we continue to do so. They are ordinary to themselves, but to us, they are something else entirely. As the suns rose, humans prepared for another day of life in a dangerous world. The aliens would watch, learn, and tremble in awe. The Deathworlders had proven again, their ordinary was the impossible made simple. And in that, the humans held power that no alien weapon could match. The sun rose over Zyphera, painting the jagged cliffs and rivers with gold and fire. For the humans, it was another ordinary day, a day for hunting, climbing, and testing themselves against the dangers of their world. But for the Zorath fleet hovering above, it was a day filled with fear, anticipation, and doubt. The main alien army had arrived, far larger and more heavily armed than the scouting squads. Thousands of Zorath warriors disembarked in massive transport ships, weapons glowing with energy, ready to conquer. Their leader, Commander Krath, had warned them, underestimate humans at your peril. The humans waited, as they always did, in the open fields between cliffs and forests. To the aliens, it looked like a trap. The humans were unarmed, or at least that was what it seemed. No advanced weapons, no armored soldiers, only spears, ropes, and tools made from the environment. Yet their confidence radiated like a shield. Krath's voice rang out over the comms. Attack in formation, do not underestimate them. They are unusual. But numbers and power will win the day. The aliens advanced. Their boots crushed the jagged stones. Energy weapons hummed and crackled. Yet even as they moved, they noticed the humans splitting into groups, spreading across the terrain as if they had anticipated every move. A young human warrior climbed a tree, hidden from sight. From there, he used a simple sling to drop rocks and strike at alien scouts. Another set up a rope across a small chasm, allowing him to swing down behind the alien lines. The Zorath were caught off guard. Their weapons were powerful, but humans were faster, more flexible, and more clever than anything they had trained for. One alien squad tried to fire energy blasts into the forest. Humans dodged effortlessly, rolling, leaping, and climbing as if danger were invisible. Talrek whispered, voice trembling, Commander, they anticipate every attack, every step we take they know. Krath gritted his mandibles. Adapt, learn, do not panic. This is not ordinary combat, this is survival. The humans used their environment as a weapon. They triggered rock slides, directing boulders into alien formations. They cut vines that snapped like whips, knocking soldiers off balance. Rivers, cliffs, and forests became battlefields shaped by human ingenuity rather than alien technology. A massive predator one humans had trained to assist them appeared on the battlefield. It roared and charged at a Zorath unit. The aliens fired, but the creature moved with speed and intelligence. Humans guided it with hand signals, turning it into a living weapon. Several warriors were forced to retreat to avoid being crushed. Krath's voice was sharp, commanding, Hold formation, do not let them divide us. But the humans were already dividing the alien army. Small groups moved independently, striking at weak points, luring squads into ambushes and disappearing before the aliens could react. Their ordinary tools, spears, rocks, vines, proved far more effective in the terrain than the aliens' high-tech weapons. A young human girl, barely 14, swung across a chasm using a rope. She landed behind an alien squad, causing confusion and panic. Her movements were precise, fearless, and utterly ordinary to her. Talrek's 3 eyes widened in disbelief. They are children, and yet more skilled than we are. Krath realized something terrifying. The aliens' strength and numbers meant nothing in this environment. Humans had adapted to every danger, every obstacle, every predator. They were not afraid of death. They had mastered it. The battle intensified. Lava streams erupted from fissures, sending heat and molten rock toward the aliens. Humans used these eruptions to force alien squads into narrow passes where they became trapped. Simple wooden traps and pits captured entire groups without a single human taking serious risk. Krath's warriors screamed and struggled, their energy shields overloaded by rocks, vines, and environmental hazards. The humans moved calmly, like chess players directing pieces on a board. Every strike, every maneuver was calculated. Every human knew the terrain, the dangers, and the weaknesses of their enemy. A Zorath squad tried to climb a cliff to flank the humans. Rocks fell beneath them, dislodged intentionally by human warriors above. One alien lost balance and fell into a river filled with boiling water. Another was struck by a simple rock from a slingshot, sending him crashing into a pit. Krath hissed, voice tight. They are masters of this world. Our weapons are useless. Our numbers mean nothing here. We cannot conquer them, not yet. Despite the chaos, humans moved as one. No panic, no confusion, no fear. Even the youngest children contributed, distracting soldiers, setting minor traps, and helping guide the adults. To humans, this was ordinary. To aliens, it was a nightmare. Hours passed. The alien army suffered heavy losses. Their formations broke apart under the relentless ingenuity and courage of the humans. Commanders were injured or forced to retreat. Soldiers panicked, realizing that brute force could not win against a species that had survived impossible conditions for generations. Krath finally called for a retreat. Fall back, regroup. This is not defeat yet, but we must reconsider our approach. The aliens pulled back, wounded and shaken. The humans did not pursue aggressively. They let them retreat, observing carefully, assessing for the next threat. Their ordinary caution was a lesson in patience and strategy. From a cliff above, a human warrior surveyed the battlefield. He noticed the aliens retreating, their morale shattered. He turned to a younger companion and said, "They will be back, but we know how to survive." Ordinary is our weapon. Krath watched from his ship. The reports streamed in, hundreds of alien casualties, scattered formations, and chaos in the ranks. He had expected a quick victory. Instead, he had witnessed humans using simple tools, natural hazards, and fearless strategy to defeat an overwhelming force. He muttered almost to himself, "They fight differently than any species we know. They are extraordinary in ways we cannot match." Their ordinary is our nightmare. The humans gathered at their base, tending to wounds, repairing shelters, and sharing stories. They treated their losses as lessons, their victories as routine. Every day on Zyphera had prepared them for this moment. Danger was familiar, death was ordinary. The aliens had learned the hard way that humans were not merely survivors, they were masters of adaptation, courage, and strategy. Krath convened his council. The aliens argued about retreat, regrouping, and reinforcements. But deep down, they knew. Nothing in the galaxy could prepare them for a species that faced death as casually as humans did. Numbers, weapons, and armor could not overcome instinct, courage, and intelligence honed over generations in a world designed to kill. Krath spoke finally, voice heavy with awe and frustration. "We underestimated them. We assumed fear and death would control them. It does not. We must learn if that is even possible. Otherwise, this planet will be lost to us and the humans will remain undefeated." They are ordinary and extraordinary all at once. Above, the twin suns set, casting long shadows across the jagged terrain. Fires glowed in the villages below, children played near boiling rivers, and adults repaired shelters with calm determination. The humans had survived another clash against the most feared alien force in the galaxy. To them, it was ordinary. To the Zorath, it was a lesson in humility, fear, and respect. The battle had been lost, not through lack of power, but through underestimation. Humans had turned Zyphera itself into a weapon, ordinary hazards into tools, and their courage into armor stronger than any technology. Krath made a decision. "We will retreat for now, but mark my words, humans will not be underestimated again." Their ordinary is something the galaxy will fear. As the night deepened, humans slept beneath the trees. Some kept watch, alert and calm. Others rested, knowing that danger was constant but manageable. Their ordinary world was deadly to outsiders, yet ordinary to themselves. The Zorath fleet departed, regrouping in orbit, but the memory of the day lingered. Every soldier had seen humans conquer what should have killed them. Every commander had felt the fear of the ordinary human, fearless, clever, and unstoppable. The first major clash had ended. The humans had survived. The aliens had learned a truth they could not ignore. Humans were not just survivors, they were Deathworlders, capable of mastering the impossible. And the galaxy would soon learn that ordinary humans were anything but ordinary. The Zorath fleet retreated into orbit, battered, shaken, and humbled. Their armies had suffered more than expected, and for the first time in the Empire's history, they had faced a species they could not conquer by sheer force. Commander Krath stared down at Zyphera, the twin suns casting long golden shadows across the jagged cliffs and steaming rivers below. Below, humans continued their ordinary routines. Fires burned where meals were cooked, children practiced climbing on rocks and swinging from vines, and adults repaired shelters while keeping a careful eye on the forest. Predators prowled nearby, yet humans moved calmly, as if aware of every danger and prepared for all of them. Krath clenched his fists. They have survived everything we sent at them, and they do not even see it as a challenge. This is extraordinary. The humans were not celebrating. They had survived another encounter, yes, but survival was their normal. Danger had been part of life for generations on Zyphera. They taught their young not only how to survive, but how to thrive where others would perish. Their ordinary was a world of constant hazard, but one they had mastered. From the cliff edges and high trees, the humans observed the retreating aliens. They did not shout or attack. They did not celebrate victory. Instead, they watched calmly, analyzing the movements of the fleet, understanding what could come next. To them, this was strategy, not heroism. A young hunter carrying a sling and a small pack of food turned to a companion and said, "They will be back, but we are ready. Ordinary is all we need." The companion smiled. "And we have survived ordinary our whole lives." Meanwhile, aboard the flagship Vorath, Krath convened a council. Alien commanders spoke in hushed tones, their voices tinged with fear and awe. "Commander," said Talrek, "we are powerful, yet they survive impossible dangers with nothing but skill." "How can we face them again?" Krath's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. "We cannot face them as enemies, not yet, not with brute force. They have turned Zyphera itself into a weapon. Their ordinary is deadly to anyone who does not understand it." One officer argued, "We can bring more soldiers, we can overwhelm them with numbers and technology." Krath shook his massive head. "We underestimate them again and we will fail. The humans do not fight like any other species. Fear does not control them, danger strengthens them. Every day, every challenge, every predator they face, it is training. We cannot conquer them without first learning their ways, and even then it will be difficult." Below, humans gathered near the central fire of their village. A council of elders spoke in low tones, discussing what they had witnessed. Their scouts had reported the alien attack, and while the humans had won without major loss, they understood the importance of vigilance. Their world was deadly, yes, but it had prepared them for this moment. An elder with silver hair and a scar across her cheek addressed the group. "The aliens have learned what we already know. To survive is ordinary, to thrive is our choice. We do not fear them, for we have faced worse every day since birth." A young girl, no older than 10, smiled as she tied a rope between two trees. "We are ready," she said simply. "Ordinary is enough." The elder nodded. "Yes, ordinary is enough, and it has always been enough." The humans' victories had not come from weapons or numbers, but from intelligence, courage, and mastery of their environment. They had turned deadly rivers, lava flows, jagged cliffs, and predators into tools for survival and defense. Every step was calculated, every action purposeful. Even the youngest children contributed, knowing instinctively how to navigate the hazards of their world. Krath watched the humans, recording their movements and tactics. His respect grew with every observation. "They are not invincible," he admitted quietly. "But they are beyond anything I imagined. They turn ordinary life into extraordinary survival. They deserve respect more than fear, more than conquest. Respect." Back on the ground, humans prepared for the possibility of another alien attack. They repaired traps, reinforced shelters, and trained their young. Yet they did all of this calmly, without panic, without fear. Ordinary was their teacher, and Ordinary had always prepared them for challenges no alien could survive without trembling. A human hunter climbed to the top of a cliff and looked toward the stars. The Zorath fleet was visible, retreating into the distance. "They will be back," he said, "but we will be ready." A companion joined him, carrying a sling and a small bundle of provisions. "We have survived worse than they can imagine. Ordinary is our armor." The battle had ended, but the lesson had been clear. Humans were not merely survivors, they were Deathworlders. They had turned a hostile planet into their domain, mastering dangers that would kill any other species. Their courage, intelligence, and skill made them unstoppable in their own environment. Krath's report to the Empire would be stark and honest. The humans were unlike any species encountered before. They could not be conquered by weapons, technology, or fear. The Empire would need to respect them, for underestimating humans would lead only to failure. For the aliens, this was a humbling moment. The mightiest soldiers of the Zorath Empire had been forced to retreat by creatures they had expected to dominate. They had learned that strength and numbers were meaningless against a species that had turned ordinary survival into an art form. Back in the village, humans celebrated quietly. There was no cheering, no boastful claims of victory. Victory was ordinary to them, as ordinary as cooking food, climbing cliffs, or avoiding predators. Their world had always been dangerous, and they had always thrived. A young boy handed a spear to a younger child, showing how to balance and aim. "Practice every day," he said. "Ordinary is enough. Ordinary makes us strong." An elder smiled. "Yes, ordinary is enough, and it has always been enough." The humans had earned their reputation. They had survived a technologically superior alien army using only skill, courage, and knowledge of their world. They had proven that ordinary humans could be more powerful than advanced alien warriors when ordinary life had taught them mastery of the impossible. Krath watched one last time as humans continued their routines. They were ordinary people living ordinary lives, yet they had performed extraordinary feats. They had survived the impossible and made it seem simple. The Zorath fleet departed, carrying the knowledge that humans were not to be trifled with. Respect, not conquest, was what they had earned. Humanity had turned fear and danger into tools, lessons, and training. Their ordinary was terrifying to others, but perfectly normal to themselves. Krath's final words before leaving the planet were quiet, almost to himself. "They are ordinary and extraordinary. Never underestimate humans. Never." On Zyphera, life continued as it always had. Children climbed rocks, adults hunted and gathered, fires burned, and predators prowled nearby. Humans treated every challenge with calm determination. Ordinary was their way of life. Ordinary had saved them. Ordinary had earned them the respect of a galaxy. And as the twin suns set, casting long shadows over the jagged terrain, humans sat around their fires. They laughed, they shared stories, they prepared for tomorrow. For them, this was life. Ordinary, dangerous, and beautiful life. The galaxy, however, would never see them the same way again. Humanity had survived, adapted, and thrived in ways no other species could. They were the Deathworlders, masters of the impossible, and their ordinary was a lesson in courage, intelligence, and strength that no one would ever forget. And so, Zyphera remained in human hands. The Zorath had learned humility, fear, and respect. Humanity had proven that ordinary life, courage, and mastery of one's world could achieve what advanced technology and overwhelming force could not. Ordinary in the hands of humans was extraordinary indeed.